So let's get into the second half of the zodiac by rising sign. If you are looking for the first part of the zodiac, you will find that in part 1. This is part 2. We're going to go Libra to Pisces rising and what January has got for you. So we're going to start off with the Libra rising. Libra rising. I mean, there has been a fair amount of energy coming at you guys. Okay, Libra rising, you know, you've had Saturn, Neptune, North Node in your 6th house, in your physical world, fucking shit up. You have had, you know, all of the Scorpio energy that we dealt with. So there's been a lot, okay? There's been a lot, Libra rising. But the full moon that we had in Cancer, which is where I started making these videos, the full moon in Cancer happening in your 10th house and should have brought up, you know, a lot of stuff related to your career, how your career has been impacted by the beliefs of your family. Okay. Now, this is kind of Libra rising people. Generally, you are the sort of person who had a very strict rule structure in your family for some whatever reason, right? Maybe, you know, depending on the rest of the chart, right? Maybe they were strict with cultural beliefs, religious beliefs. Maybe there was just like a very, not strict, but like a very set in stone, we work hard kind of energy, right? And Libra rising, I mean, with a 10,000 Cancer, your career legacy, what you're here to kind of make money from and make a legacy out of is Cancer energy stuff. It's nurturing stuff. It's stuff related to, you know, things that have an emotional connection for you. Libra rising people, there is a lot of creativity in you, in who you are. And you have this 4th house in Capricorn, which kind of, that's a, you know, it's very different. Capricorn energy, Libra energy, very different. So a lot of you are from families that you were quite different from, right? And so this full moon that came up, because of the aspects that it was making with Venus and Mars, who are both in Capricorn as well. So all of this in your 4th house, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Mars, all in your 4th house, really trying to show you where, like, the impact of the way that you grew up on how you love, on how you build relationships, on how you communicate, and on how you take action, right? And so the full moon in Cancer, so we had the Sun in Capricorn, we had the full moon in Cancer, and Jupiter is retrograding in Cancer, right? And that moon happened at 13 degrees, which is an Aries degree. So it's definitely related to your relationships, what was coming up, you know, how you relate to other people, especially at work, how that has been affected by the way that you grew up. All right. There's a lot going on around your authentic nature and who you actually are, right? Libra rising people, you're great at wearing a mask. You are great at wearing a mask, right? Whatever mask is the one that kind of makes people like you the most. That's the one you're very good at wearing. And it takes a lot of work, right, to be able to really work through that. And there's like a part of you, because your 12th house in Virgo, that your subconscious space is very fucking critical, and it holds this criticism. And that sort of criticism can really help you hold on to the masks, right? So, you know, with Pluto in your 5th house, right, in Aquarius, you really felt quite, you know, powerless in a lot of ways about being authentic, about how you saw the world different to your family. And that's coming into play more and more and more, right? And so we're dealing with the family component and the career component with the full moon in Cancer. Then we're going to get some Capricorn Kazimis, Venus and Mars in the 2nd week, which we're about to roll into now as I'm recording this. And then by the end of the month, we're really heavily in Aquarius season, really heavily in Aquarius season. But we get this opportunity to plant some seeds under the new moon in Capricorn on the 19th. So by then, you would have really started to understand some of the ways in which the programs you got from your family have impacted your ability to feel secure, your ability to feel like secure in relationships, secure in friendships, secure in personal relationships. Do your personal relationships allow you to show up as yourself? Are you allowed to be everything about who you are in relationship dynamics, or is that impacted by the way that your family brought you up, right? By the things that you learned from your family. Now, there's like so much Aquarius energy coming that I am going to have to say that for some of you, it could be very fucking revealing what is about to happen, okay? Aquarius helps us see from a different perspective, right? But when it's in your 5th house, as much as that means that like you're into some weird shit, right? Like things that you find fun, very authentic to you and how you exist as a person. But 5th house is about, you know, the inner child, and so childhood. And when we look at early childhood education in the 3rd house, Sagittarius, like truth seeking energy and how you communicate, truth seeking energy in your early childhood. And Lilith is there right now. So there is this kind of wild, feral kind of energy that's coming through your communication house. It might be showing up in your relationship with friends or siblings or neighbors. And there's a wildness to it, right? Because your inner belief system is currently under the influence of like a masculine energy, like a sexual masculine energy. So your inner belief system, your value system, your discipline energy, you know, your mystical energy, your truth seeking energy is like going after it with like the stampeding horses to the strength of like some highly potent masculine energy, right? The dark masculine energy. So there is, you know, these two components of you, how you communicate and your value system, that are sort of telling you to look at the parts of you that you've rejected. And when we're dealing with this Aquarius energy in your 5th house, trying to show you, you know, the impact of feeling powerless to be your own weird, authentic self as a child, the impact of these sorts of things on you. And then we go into Aquarius season, and you are going to have a Mercury cazimi and a Pluto cazimi in your 5th house, right? So Venus will be in Aquarius, the Sun will be in Aquarius, Mercury will be in Aquarius, Mars will be in Aquarius, and that's when we get the Pluto cazimi. So you're going to have all of this energy in your 5th house. It's probably going to make you want to do some wild things. Like I can see a lot of Libra rising people just like, I'm out of here, fucking gone on a holiday, like just away for the weekend, fucking out of here. And like I would, I'd somewhat advise that, to be honest, for that Aquarius energy for you. Like really go and have fun. Go and find your playful spirit, right? As weird as it fucking is. And do it by yourself if you can't take off the mask, right? Don't be having the mask on while you're going to have fun, right? Don't choose to have fun by asking somebody else what they want to do, Libra rising. You need to do it yourself, okay? Now, your body has been taking a fucking beating, okay? Because with the 6th house in Pisces anyway, you've probably got some kind of underlying health condition that's somewhat ancestral, right? Or generational, like, or everyone in your family has something, right? And that's been really fucking active. Okay, your body is so intuitive. And with the heaviness of the Pisces energy right now, with Saturn, Neptune, North Node, all there and finalizing things, right? North Node's going to finish up soon in a few months. Neptune's finishing up at the end of January. Saturn's finishing up in the middle of February. There's some massive energies moving out of your 6th house and then into your 5th and 7th. So, you know, Pisces and Saturn are still together. Neptune is almost done, like I said. The North Node is currently at 10 degrees, which is a Capricorn degree. So that's also going to be pulling in some family stuff. So wherever you've had kind of health stuff going on, your body could have been actually going quite fucking mental, to be honest. It's going to start to lighten, okay? Neptune will move out of your 6th house on the 27th, and it's going to move into your 7th house. I'll get to that in a minute. And Saturn's going to move out on the 14th of February and move into your 7th house. And then the North Node, it's somewhere like July, August that it's going to move. But the Saturn and Neptune, that has been a heavy burden on your physical body and your experience of the physical world, right? Maybe mental health, especially if it's been like kind of triggered by a relationship dynamic, mental and emotional health might not have been good. There is like an uncomfortable feeling in your body, Libra rising, for one reason or another. Okay. 10th house in Cancer as well. Like a lot of Libra rising people, I mean, you probably fucking preg, right? 10th house in Cancer, yes, related to career, but it's also legacy. Like I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Libra rising people found out they was fucking pregnant under that moon. But 10th house in Cancer, like, and Jupiter is there, expanding your legacy. And Cancer energy is about the mother, right? So, I mean, wouldn't be surprised. And then if you are pregs, right? And you are, or you do, or you don't want to keep it, up to fucking you, whatevs. But like you might have dealt with something around, you know, that pregs expansion of the fucking legacy energy, you might have dealt with some body shit going on, right? 6th house Pisces, holding trauma in the body, right? There will be a massive trauma release from the body. I would advise all Libra rising people to be fucking doing some kind of fucking giant cleansing ritual around that Neptune finalizing. Okay, I'm running a ritual, just going to say, in Melbourne. We're going to go to a beach. We're going to all collectively walk into that beach and cleanse our feet, Pisces. And then we're going to walk out of that, watch the sun go down, watch the moon come up, and fucking farewell, right? You can register for that. It's a free event. It's just to get that collectives of people together. And if you aren't in Melbourne, but you want to take part, we can do like a live call situation so that we're all doing it at the same time. You can find all of those details on my website, registering for the Neptune ritual, which is in a couple of weeks. Okay. But even if you're not coming to that, Libra rising, cleanse the fuck out of your body, out of your physical world, right? This is going to be the biggest cleanse that I want you to do, Libra rising. Okay. I want you to cleanse your house. I want you to sort. I want you to also, because while we're on this, okay, clothing that has made you feel uncomfortable, that you keep for like whatever fucking reason, that's not, you like wearing it, fucking throw it out. Your 12th house in Virgo is going to be judgmental every time you fucking put something on that makes you feel uncomfortable in your body. Okay. So just throw it out. Right? Give it to charity. I don't care what you do with it, right? Because you've also got 8th house in Taurus, right? So transformation can be quite difficult. It can start on the external, right? Like Taurus is a surface level fucking energy. It's very much about value in the material world. So transformation has to be worth it to you, right? Has to be worth it. And you would have been dealing with some fuckery for the last 7 to 8 years, trying to show you where you need to transform, trying to show you where you've been egotistical, trying to show you where you've been materialistic, and you have avoided changing something, transforming something. Because Libra rising, I'm sorry to say, but with an 8th house in fucking Taurus, there is a quality that sort of says, I'm only going to do this if it makes me look good. If it earns me a reward, if it earns me something, I'm going to do it. And that Taurus energy is going to get you in trouble this year, because Chiron's going to move into Taurus, and we're all going to be opened up to like this wounding of value. And if you don't have any internal stability in your own value as a person, because Libra rising, you do struggle with that, and 2nd house in Scorpio, so there is a worth that comes with possessing things, right? People, relationships, jobs, possessing things, right? Scorpio also has a shared finance, shared resource kind of energy to it as well. And when you combine that on the axis with Taurus, it's like, I'll transform, but it has to be worth it for me in the long term. And that's an okay way to look at it. But if the Taurus grabs hold and says, actually, you know what, I'm not going to get a reward, it's not going to make me look any better, right? Like, it's like, okay, 6th house Pisces, Libra rising person, you know, you've got this health thing, and it could be cleared up by like stopping drinking this, you know, coffee, if that's your favorite thing. And so then, okay, so internally that'll make me feel better. But will it make me skinnier? Will it make me more beautiful? Will it make my hair shiny? Will it make me more money? Because if it's not going to do any of those things, I'm not willing to do that. Right? There's a quality to a lot of, obviously depending on the rest of the chart, but there's a quality to a lot of Libra rising people that gets very stuck in the material surface level of transformation, right? They want it to look good, and they forget to do the inner work. They forget to do the deep inner work, right? So be aware of that. There's a feralness to you right now in how you're communicating, in how you're showing up, in how you're kind of seeing yourself. And I want you to use that to sort of transform how you see transforming. Right? Like transformation, 8th house transformation, death and rebirth. Okay. It's not always going to be something that gets you a reward in the external. It's not always going to be something that you will see somebody reflect back to you. Okay. It needs transformation. Yes, the outside world will transform, but the inner world needs to transform first. Otherwise, it's going to dissolve, right? A fake transformation will dissolve, right? And you got 11th house in Leo, and that bitch is about to get hit with South Node very soon. So there's going to be a lot of looking at your friendships, a lot of looking at the groups of people that you have allowed around you that uphold a lot of your toxic beliefs, okay? So be aware of that. Now, the eclipse energy will start rolling in on the 16th of January. And so for you, you want to be paying attention to the subconscious space, right? Because it's going to be a Virgo eclipse and it's going to be an Aquarius eclipse. So we're paying attention to the 5th house, which, like I said, could be bringing up some powerless feelings, some feelings around really not feeling safe to be your weird self, to express yourself as a child. And with the 12th house in Virgo, okay, we're in the South Node. We're in our heads. We're judging ourselves for things that happened in the past. So these eclipses are going to hit pretty hard for you, Libra Rising, okay? And I will add that later this year, Libra Rising, ruled by Venus, with your 8th house in Taurus as well, ruled by Venus. Venus is going to retrograde in Scorpio and Libra. So your Taurus placements, your Scorpio placements, and your Libra placements are all going to be affected by that. Now, when Venus is retrograding, that is also when the nodes are going to be fucking around in Aquarius. That's also when we're going to have Mercury also retrograding in Scorpio. Okay. So my advice is to clear out your bullshit friendships before then. Okay. Which I don't think you're going to have any struggles doing, because let's go into the part that I was going to talk about, which is that your 7th house in Aries is about to get a fucking boost of renewal energy, okay? So Neptune will enter Aries on the 27th of January and will be there for about 15 years. And then Saturn will enter on the 14th of February, and he will be there for about 3 years. But both of these, Aries energy, the first sign of the zodiac, big cycles. Neptune is starting a new 160-year cycle. Saturn is starting a new 30-year cycle. So this is happening in your relationships. You are going to be asked to really start understanding what you want in a relationship. And that is a struggle, Libra Rising. That is a struggle for you because you are primed to want to know what other people want first. You're going to be asked what you want. You're going to be asked to imagine what that looks like. You are going to be asked to really put some discipline and some boundaries in around people pleasing fucking bullshit. And you want to be doing that, because if you're not doing that, Libra Rising, if you're out there doing the people pleasing, it is not going to go well. It is not going to go well. And by the time we get to the eclipses, by the time we get to the Venus retrograde, it's going to be a big mess for you to look at. Okay. So please be aware of that. If it's hard now, good. Do the work now. Okay, the rest of the year will, I don't want to say get easier, but will be easier to understand if you do some of the work now. Okay, don't hold back what needs to be said. Don't hold back what needs to be said because you're worried somebody won't like you. That is my prime fucking point of view for you for the whole of January, Libra Rising. I really want you to try and lock that mentality in. It will be very helpful for you in the future. Okay, but you can expect a lot of fun kind of energy coming in towards the end of the month. Use it to get to know yourself. Okay, there's a lot of clarity coming in around some family fucking bullshit at the start of the month. Okay, and again, just where everything kind of sits for you, there could be some like feral information that you find out about, like a sister or like a neighbor or something like that. Something about when you were a child and you didn't know something like that could definitely come up with the energy you're dealing with. Okay, it was a long one, but that's important. Okay, who's next? Scorpio Rising. Okay, you've had a time, babes. You've had a time. It's lightened up for you a little. It has. But like, you know, Pluto and Mars are your rulers, Scorpio Rising. They rule your first house. And Pluto a bit more comfortably in Aquarius now, but Mars is having a Cazimi on the 9th. So big energies. Okay. Now, first house in Scorpio, 7th house in Taurus. So there's been a lot of challenging energy since, you know, the last 7 to 8 years. And then when Uranus retrograded back into Taurus. Okay. So that's going to lift. I think that's the end of April when Uranus then settles into Gemini again. So moves back into your 8th house, which it moved into on July 7th for a couple of months. Then it went back into Taurus to fuck your relationships up a little bit more. And one of the problems that Scorpio rising people have with relationships is that their relationship energy in Taurus looks surface level, but that's not true, right? Because with the first house in Scorpio, there's more to you than meets the eye, okay? And second house in Sag, so there is a lot of your worth that gets kind of wrapped up in like things needing to be correct and like the optimism of like, oh God, I want people to like me. Things can get locked up in that space. Okay. Now, fourth house in Aquarius, you're not very good at showing up authentically. So it takes people a lot of time to get to know you. And fine, great. That's fine. But keep that in mind, because your family space gave you this energy around like you were different to them. You felt weird to them. And so you've locked in some kind of fucking mentality around it. And that makes it more difficult for a Scorpio rising because you're already a little bit mystical looking, right? And then your third house in Capricorn. So the way that you communicate can be a little bit blunt for people. And that just upholds what your family taught you, but it's not true. Okay. Fifth house in Pisces, definitely some kind of trauma as a child, right? And you've had Saturn and Neptune and the North Node there. So you're not only dealing with your childhood trauma, but you're also feeling through a lot of trauma from 160 years of generational fucking energy, right? And with Saturn there's a bit of discipline energy that it needs to be felt. We need to take responsibility for it. We need to understand it. And the North Node like makes it a little bit uncomfortable, right? But there was a big powerlessness around trauma related things when you were a child. Maybe you couldn't show up as who you were because your mother was traumatized, right? Or maybe your mother and father were like in a traumatizing relationship with each other, okay? So just depending on obviously the rest of the placements, but the way that you're going to transform this year is going to be fucking chaotic as shit. It is going to be surprising. It's going to be, you know, a lot of the shame is going to come from like the dark masculine energy, because Priapus will be in Gemini in your 8th house for some of the time that Uranus is also there. And Priapus is the dark masculine energy. Okay. So you got the dark feminine energy in your 2nd house of worth, right? Really telling you that like you need to be seeking more truth around your worth instead of just like judging it based on some kind of mentality of, you know, do people see that I'm working hard enough? Okay. Am I working in the most perfect way? Do people see me and how I'm presenting myself in a way that is pleasing to them? Okay. Now you're going to have, I'm going to tell you this right now, you're going to have some gut shit go on, definitely, when Neptune enters Aries, right? So Neptune enters Aries, Saturn enters Aries in February 14th, and then they have a conjunction, and that's going to happen in your 6th house. Now, 6th house in Aries, you already get some stomach shit going on, right? Especially when you're ignoring your intuition. So that's going to cause some stomach shit, right? If you are someone who has gut problems, which I mean, a lot of you do, that's going to get kind of exaggerated a little bit. So make sure you've got your diet in order, right? Cut down on any fucking cigarettes and coffee to start your morning and end your day. Cut down on that sort of stuff, at least for a few months, right? Neptune and Saturn are both big planets. They take a while to settle, right? So that energy is going to be shaky for a while. So I'm giving you the heads up, right? If you're lactose intolerant, don't risk it. Don't risk it. Okay. Now, the full moon in Cancer that we had on the 3rd happened in your 9th house and was probably really bringing up a lot of value system stuff, maybe some father wound stuff, maybe how your father treated your mother, maybe how that affects how you see the masculine and feminine relationships in your life. And, you know, that can be a little bit rough because you've got this big activation, Aquarius, Leo, with Pluto being in Aquarius, right? Especially if you've got low degrees. If your 4th house in Aquarius is like below 5 degrees, then this is huge energy for you, especially towards the end of January, where we're going to have a massive Aquarius energy in the early degrees, right? So if you are under 5 degrees, Aquarius in the 4th house, you're definitely going to be facing some clarity around family shit, how it's affected your motivation, how much repressed rage you're holding on to, how your, you know, like your primal energy and your requirements within intimacy and intimate relationships, how those things have been affected by the fucking secrets of your family and the way that you were raised and how weird you fucking felt. And, you know, we're moving into the axis, moving to Leo and Aquarius. That's going to really, you know, you're going to have the North Node in Aquarius in your 4th house. You're going to have the South Node. Oh, and Pluto will be still in your 4th house. And you're going to have the South Node in your 10th house. There's going to be a lot of upheaval when it comes to your confidence at work, maybe even with work. You know, you might be completely having to let go of a job that you don't want to let go of because, of course, we're getting transformation through chaos. And you're going to have Uranus in your relationship house for a little bit as well. So there is a lot of fuckery trying to transform a lot of who you are, a lot of who you are and your inner values, okay? South Node in your 11th house. Let go of relationships that don't serve you, that you're staying in because it's comfortable. I don't want to hear from one Scorpio rising fucking client. If you're watching this, I don't want to hear hear that at some point this year, your friend who you just kept around because they were someone that you always kept around. Oh, we've just been friends since, grade 1. They're a bit of a bitch and they make me feel shit about myself, but I keep them around because we've been friends for so long, even though we've got nothing in common. I don't want to fucking hear that. I want that to be done, right? I want you to get that done as soon as possible, because I'm telling you, Mercury and Venus are going to be retrograding in your first house and in your 12th house. Don't be holding on to relationships that don't serve you, because you will see that in a way that you don't want to see, especially if it's going to involve how you feel about your body. Stomach issues, just saying. Okay. Or complete instability. I mean, your relationships likely have been quite unstable for 7 to 8 years. Okay. You can't have Uranus in your 7th house and have had no weird fucking upheaval shit that you didn't expect in relationships. Okay. And like, that doesn't mean maybe not your relationship, maybe it's your best friend's relationship, your sister's relationship, whatever, like, but around you. Okay. And you judge yourself too harshly on friends anyway. So like, you probably hold on to them because like you feel like you're too cold or too weird, or like that you're seeing it in the wrong way. Okay. But with Chiron being in your 6th house, you've probably had ups and downs with your stomach anyway. But then I'm telling you, when Neptune and Saturn station into your 6th house, you'll feel it. Okay. And you will have to be disciplined with your habits around eating and what extracurricular activities that involve imbibing things. You are going to have to be more careful, because trust me, it'll become a fucking issue. All right. Just like it becomes an issue when you don't allow yourself a lot of fun, creative energy, just like how that becomes an issue, with your health. Okay. So yeah, you've got a lot going on. And like I said, get those friends out of your fucking life and get your eating habits in order, and expect some fucking clarity around the way that your family has impacted your ability to feel confident in the sort of work that you want to do and the sort of legacy that you're leaving behind. Okay. And a Sagittarius Rising. Okay, Sagittarius Rising. I mean, you're probably looking real fine. Tell you that right now. Sag Rising with Lilith in your first house, you're probably, maybe not quite yet, but you're maybe starting to feel a little bit of that rebellion energy in how you look. Okay. And that's going to impact your relationships, right? Because your 7th house in Gemini, Priapus is there, the dark masculine energy. You got the dark feminine energy in your first house. So there is like more of an action taking to your relationships that's coming, especially with intimate energy. And with Lilith in your first house, you will be very much in a sexual energy. People will be seeing you very much in a bit of a rebellious kind of sexual energy. And you get that anyway, Sag, but that's turned all the way up. Okay. And you might feel a bit more comfortable looking how you want to fucking look, looking like a weirdo, looking like a sexual beast. You might feel a little bit better about it, because 4th house in Pisces, you got some fucking family trauma, right? And it's, 6th house Taurus as well. So 5th house Aries. I'm going to say you got some family trauma around like, what is the value of how I look and how I show up, right? What is the value of that? And potentially lacking a bit of nurturing as a child with 8th house in Cancer. So having to really, nurture yourself through transformation. And with Jupiter still retrograding in Cancer and that Cancer full moon, you might have had to really look at some of those things, like what you see, how you see yourself as valuable, right? What you see as valuable, where you learned to see value in yourself, right? And 9th house in Leo, 9th house is about your values. Okay. So around the time of the full moon, so around the 3rd of Jan, right, this could have really brought, I wouldn't be surprised. I said this about Leo risings too, but I wouldn't be surprised if something about your appearance, you wanted to change something about your appearance around that full moon, right? Leo rising and Sag rising, you would have had it, there's a different energy coming towards it, but like this energy around taking something into your own hands. And like, especially if part of your childhood wound is like your father wouldn't let you dye your hair. I bet you fucking wanted to dye your hair. or you did dye your hair, right? Like it's that kind of an energy. And especially if you're on holidays from work, because you judge yourself so harshly on work stuff, on how you show up at work, on whether people see you as someone who is like valuable at work, and whether they see you as someone who works hard enough. And your value system being in Capricorn, and right now in Capricorn, you are taking stock of that pretty hard. But hopefully you're doing it from using that bit of a Lilith in your first house as for some rebellion energy, right? So January, the first couple of weeks where we are now, right up until about the 15th, 14th, 15th, the Capricorn energy, so your worth, your money, there's going to be some clarity in it, what relationships are worth keeping. If you are feeling a pull to like sign a new contract towards the end of this week, so like around the 9th till the 14th, and I haven't looked, obviously, at the daily energy for you during that time. But this is a great time, like, to trust what's coming through. Because the Venus cazimi at 16 degrees, the Mars cazimi at 19 degrees, this is Mercury already in Capricorn, right? So we're in this energy, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, Mars, all in your second house. So hopefully you got some fucking money ideas coming in, or some money, or at the very least feeling better about who the fuck you are as a person. And if you're not, these kazimis are going to show you why you're not. Okay. And because it's in Capricorn in your second house, if you are in relationships that are not worth your fucking time, they're going to be gone. Okay. Which is great, because I'm telling you, with an 11th and 12th house, Libra, Scorpio, and these Venus retrogrades later this year in Libra, Scorpio, get rid of the relationships that don't allow you to speak your weirdness. Okay. Now, your third house is going to fucking get it at the end of this month. So keeping an eye on your third house and your 10th house from the 16th of January, because the eclipse energy is going to start rolling in. So there is this energy that's saying the more authentic you are with how you are communicating, okay, the better that's going to be for changes that are going to happen in your workplace. So if you're hoping for a promotion, if you're about to start a new business, remember, we've still got a Virgo eclipse to come. We can use that. All right. We can use that, but be authentic. That's where power is coming from, right? Don't allow this heaviness of the Pisces in your family house, of the family trauma, right? We are taking responsibility for where we are now. We're releasing the family trauma back to the fucking ethos. And we are moving maybe somewhat uncomfortably into this new space. Okay. Now you are going to have this massive shift, because we get the first half of January in your second house, the second half of January in your third house. And then on the 27th, Neptune is getting the fuck out of your family house, which is going to be very good for farewelling family trauma programs. And then on the 14th of February, Saturn will get the fuck out of your fourth house, and we won't be then like paying for the karma of things that have happened in the past. Okay. There will be some family shit come up as these things settle, right? Now that's because it's going to move into your fifth house. And even though that's about fun and pleasure, etc., there's a part of the fifth house, especially for you, Sag rising, that is connected to a wound of identity that asks whether or not you're allowed to take up space. And Neptune and Saturn moving into that are going to make you kind of take responsibility for how you want to take up space. Right now, Chiron is still there at the moment. Childhood wounding. You could be very much in your feels about some childhood stuff. That's going to move. He's going to move into your sixth house. So it's like the childhood wound. We sort of understand who we are, and then we shift and we start looking at, what is the everyday work that I'm doing, right? But we're building this new space in the fifth. Right? We're building this new space. We're thinking about it. We bring it into reality when Saturn comes in. Saturn and Neptune will meet up in Aries in your fifth house. Okay. That could bring up some childhood stuff. Just letting you know. Follow your intimate energy when it comes to the seventh house. Don't repress it. That'll get you in trouble. You've got South Node still in your 10th house. Anything else worth bringing up for you? I don't think so. I think really focus on making sure you're communicating authentically, and just allow the Lilith in your first house to make you a bit more rebellious than you normally are. That's where you need to be. Okay. Who's next? Cap Rising. Okay, Cap Rising. Big month, January, for you, Cap Rising. Okay. You've got the Venus cazimi in your first house on the 7th. You've got the Mars cazimi in your first house on the 9th, right? And then you've got the new moon in your first house on the 19th. Okay, so there's clarity around how you want to show up, right? Now, that has a lot to do with whether you feel nurtured or not. It has a lot to do with whether you're allowed to be a weirdo or not. It has a lot to do with whether you feel comfortable to kind of stand your own ground, right? There was a bit of powerlessness around your stability or around worth as a child, which has been up and down in the fuckery for the last 7 to 8 years, all right? Get your fucking eating habits, get your habitual life in order, especially when it comes to anything to do with the throat or the hands, okay? Because Uranus is going to move back into your 6th house and cause some fucking shit, okay? Be aware of that. Okay, be aware of that. It could be more of a mental health situation, Capricorn Rising, so also be aware of that you might need to go and get a little bit more assistance than you normally would. Maybe a therapist, maybe someone you can talk to about the trauma stuff coming through. Maybe, hopefully you already have, to be honest, because with Neptune in your 3rd house, there's a lot of communication coming through ancestrally, right? And you are being kind of, your feelings are being piggybacked a lot more than the rest of us. And with Jupiter in your 7th house, you're also sort of paying karma for any relationships that didn't work out for the mothers in the past, where they weren't allowed to, you know, be loved or desired and had to fucking get married because they need a credit card or fucking whatever nonsense was happening all the way 160 years ago, right? You're kind of paying for that in your relationships now. So if you're having some struggling relationships right now, if you are like not feeling nurtured in them, those are being exaggerated because ancestral energy is fucking jumping in. But you are in a massive, like, you are about to enter a massive transformation stage, right? Your money, you're being shown how you will best make your money. It's going to involve having to open up some fucking underworld spaces, right? And it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable showing up as how you actually should be showing up, but you will have this little bit of chaotic energy in the relationship you have with your body to sort of change some shit, okay? Then, you know, you are going to have the South Node in your 8th house. That's not great. Okay, that isn't great because you'll definitely be facing some ego lessons. Okay, definitely being made to do some stuff very much out of your comfort zone. Okay, but it will be for the sake of building some new values that don't judge you so fucking harshly, because your fucking father probably judged you very harshly anyway. So yeah, be aware of that. You will have some stuff happen at work. Okay, by the end of this year, when we get the Venus retrograde, you're going to have some stuff happening at work. So make sure that your values around who you are and what your worth isn't attached to what other people think about whether you fit in or not. Okay. Now, your 12th house is just got Lilith in it. Just got in there. So there's a bit of feralness happening in your subconscious space, which you do kind of need right now. That's going to help shake those foundations that need to be shifted that you wouldn't be able to do normally, right? So the new moon in Capricorn, be planting seeds of things that came through on those Kazimis about how you want people to fucking see you, right? And how, like, because 1st house Capricorn people, you make this mistake in showing up as very well put together. And then when people come in and they want to love you, they see you as someone who is very well put together and they don't know what to offer you. But you're actually 7th house Cancer. So there's a huge requirement for nurturing and love and stability. But you tend to not show that because you fall more into workspaces much more easily, especially with a 9th house in Virgo and 10th house in Libra. Like, you kind of, work relationships and being very, hardworking is where I need to go. And so people see you and they see you as one person, but inside you definitely somewhere else. And you need to start finding a more middle ground with how you're showing up. So new moon in Capricorn, plant some fucking seeds, understand that you need to look like you, not like your family emotional programs. Then we hit Aquarius season, and that's all going to be in your 2nd house. It's going to show you some stuff about your worth. And if you've been working on it already, it's going to show you how to bring some fucking money in, okay? It's going to show you that. It's going to show you where you have a lack mentality, right? It's going to show you where your self-worth is lacking and how that's been affecting your ability to make some fucking money, all right? So, yep, Cap Rising. All right, next up. Aquarius Rising. Okay, Aquarius Rising. Are you ready? Are you ready? Because you got Pluto in your 1st house right now. By the end of January, you're going to have Mercury in your 1st house, a Mercury Kazemi in your 1st house, a Pluto Kazemi in your 1st house, Mars in your 1st house. You hearing all of that? Then we're going to have an eclipse in your first house in February. So your reputation is about to fucking change. Aquarius also rules online stuff. So your online reputation is about to fucking change. Okay. The other eclipse is happening in your 8th house, Virgo house. So we're transforming the South Node components, right? We're transforming things from the past, the karmic energy from the past, where you judge yourself too harshly, where you question whether or not you change too much. And is that affecting, does that make my friends not like me because I change too much, right? We're letting go of all of that fucking shit, okay? And that's going to be very helpful to let go of that as we're sort of dealing with Saturn and Neptune getting the fuck out of your 2nd house of worth, okay? So big kind of money changes, big worth changes here, okay? Like there is this need to really dissolve all of the parts of like worth that are trauma related, right? And you will have some, definitely 2nd house in Pisces. You will have some because 4th house in Taurus as well. So stability, material worth, all of these things as a child, probably little bit dodge, right? Little bit shaky, trauma related to lack, trauma related to money somewhere in the family. As a child, we look 4th house Taurus, right? So there was something within that stability and like the value of who you were as a person that was not seen as a child. 5th house fucking Gemini as well. Like your voice, you weren't comfortable with your voice there. There was something that was powerless about being able to share your ideas as a child, okay? And like you get a lot of joy out of sharing your ideas. So there is a wounding there that needs to be fixed. So this worth idea, right? Like it's, especially if you've got a Chiron in Gemini as well, like you're supposed to make money from your voice, from speaking out about who you are and like what you believe and how you believe what you believe, right? And 9th house Libra. 9th house Libra. So there is a value system that is about relating to other people, right? There is things that you learned, or good or bad, from your father about relationships and the balance of relationships. And, there's trauma in the legacy. 10th house Scorpio, there's trauma in the legacy. There's trauma in the legacy about, sexual energy. There's trauma in the legacy about being able to have deep emotions, to be able to creatively transform things. There is guilt and shame around the legacy of the family. And with Pluto in your 1st house and this massive fucking cazimi that's happening at the end of January, you are being shown that, right? Because 12th house Capricorn, you can't see your hard work. You can't see your hard work. You very rarely see it pay off. There's a lot of stuff there that's going to be made clear this first couple of weeks, right? So Mercury is currently in Capricorn. We'll have a Venus cazimi on the 7th. We'll have a Mars cazimi on the 9th, all in Capricorn in your 12th house. Okay, so you'll have the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Mars all in your 12th house. It's going to give you some clarity on some parts of your shit that you can't see. Probably about how successful you actually are. Probably about how hardworking you actually are. Probably about how much you put other people's needs before you and then you overwork because you need them to see you in a certain line. Okay, it's also probably the place that you escape to when you're feeling shitty about your stability, or you're feeling shitty about sharing ideas, or you're being overly judgmental because you've done something different and now you're like, people don't like me. Okay, so your friendship groups are going to get a bit more feral, a bit more wild, probably a bit more sexual. Okay, so go and be doing some fun things there to feed that. Okay, you're going to have Dark Moon Lilith in your 11th house. You're going to have the Dark Masculine Energy Priapus in your 5th house. So fun needs to be somewhat sexual. Okay, it's going to help you open up your voice a little bit more. The 11th house in Sagittarius, groups of people, and moving forward, you need to stop rejecting yourself and moving towards your primal energy. Okay, there's big energy coming that is going to help you see the values around relationships and how they, there's guilt and shame attached in these relationships for work. That's going to happen later this year. So be really focused on like communicating directly, right? 3rd house in Aries. So Chiron currently there. So you might be dealing with a bit of blockage when it comes to like talking about your trauma stuff, but we're forward moving with Chiron now. So that's going to help, but you are starting off a whole new version of how you are communicating, how you're communicating, how people are seeing you. 3rd house stuff, right? So whatever happened in your early childhood that affected like how you spoke up, right? That's about to fucking start a whole new cycle. Saturn and Neptune are going to get the fuck out of your 2nd house. They're going to move into your 3rd house and they're going to say, start fresh, right? Now, that could have you moving. I'm just going to say that. It could have you moving because you've got your Sagittarius energies being hit by wildness, right? Sagittarius loves moving and Lilith is a bit wild, right? Then you've got this movement energy, right? This movement energy that's trying to like move you somewhere, but it's shifting. It's like the external world starting to match the internal world. And there's like, I don't know, I could see some Aquarius rising people moving because of this. Like understanding that like, you know, we're starting something new. Where have you dreamed of, right? Because third house, it's about your neighbors. It's about early childhood. It's about the giving and receiving of communication. It's about your siblings, right? So you might be restarting some relationships with siblings. You might be ending some relationships with siblings and starting fresh without them, okay? But whatever it is that you kind of want to bring in, we're dealing with Neptune moving to Aries. That's a 15-year cycle. Then we're dealing with Saturn moving into your third house, which is a 3-year cycle. But these big cycles, 30 years and 160 years for all of the zodiac lessons to come through. And Aries is the first one. So you're starting something fresh about how you're using your voice. And you would have really gotten some information about how childhood woundings have stopped you from using your voice. You would have had that while Chiron has been in Aries for like fucking 8 years, right? You would have been challenged so many times on the authority of your voice, and it would have brought up a number of fucking things. So now, right, now we're at this place where it's time to start thinking about what that looks like, right? Starting to think about it. So you've got first house Aquarius, right? So we need to be more authentic with how we're showing up. And that's about to shift with this big Aquarius energy and the eclipses in Aquarius. And that's going to change like a reputation thing. And then third house in Aries, like how do you want to now use your voice? How are you, you know, taking up space with your ideas and your voice? And that is shifting everything. Right? There is going to be transformation in how you make your fucking money. There's going to be a bit more stability within your family spaces because of that. You're going to feel a lot more empowered to use your voice and a lot less shameful about it. And you are going to use this first couple of weeks in January to really take stock, actual stock take of your success currently, okay? Because that's not something that you can see all of the time, all right? Especially because you've had Pluto in that house for like 16 years up until November 2024. So it's a process learning how to see yourself as successful, and that's kind of what we're doing. There could be some wild shit go down with your reputation and how people see you and your identity from the 21st until the 24th. Okay, because massive Kazimis in your first house, and you could have some massive shifts in your money after the 14th of February, right? Like between like Neptune moving on the 27th, dreaming about it. What do I want? What am I calling in? What am I dreaming in my imagination space that it's going to be? Saturn drops in on the 14th and he gonna bring it. He gonna show you how to get there, okay? So allow those ideas to come through and don't overwork 12th house Capricorn. You won't see how hard you're working. Don't overwork, okay? You need some space. You need some space to let the ideas come through. Pisces Rising, my friends, get ready. It's happening, okay? Get ready. Saturn and Neptune are moving the fuck out of your first house, right? And they're going to move into your second house. So you are starting something fresh with worth, with money, with taking up space and worth. Taking up space with money. Taking up space with who the fuck you are, right? Now you've been kind of struggling with that. How much space should I take up? What is my identity, right? You've had Chiron in your second house. So you've had Chiron in your second house and you've had some weird shit going on in your first house. You've had Uranus and Taurus in your third house. So really, how people see you, how you see your own worth and how you communicate with them has been all kinds of fucking mental, right? And we're starting to move away from that. Right? We're starting to move away from that. Third house Taurus, right? Like for the last 7 to 8 years, communication, siblings, neighbors, this sort of fuckery really affecting things of worth, material possessions, right? You might have been dealing with neighbors who had to deal with some material possessions, making them unstable. You might have been in a lot of fucking conversations, maybe in court even for some of you, around money related things, having to talk a lot about worth, okay? And look, it's pretty big for you guys right now because you've got 5th house in Cancer. So there is a lot of powerlessness with the 5th house in Cancer around like requirements for nurturing and whether or not you felt you had them, or whether or not you could nurture, or whether or not you felt people were being loved and secure and nurturing around you. Okay. It also is kind of signifying to me that there is a lot of there's like a lot of trauma attached to the sort of way that you show up. You're careful about the way that you show up. You like to make sure that people are getting what they want out of the way that you're showing up in a lot of ways. 4th house Gemini as well. So a lot of like communication stuff in your family space, like a lot of ideas, a lot of upheaval as well. Okay. But there is a masculine energy that's coming to help you with your family energy stuff, right? Jupiter will go direct in Cancer, and that will help you kind of move away from this powerlessness. And Chiron's going to get out of your 2nd house. So then you're going to be able to start finding space again. And you know, you're going to have Neptune move in there on the 27th of Jan. So really be thinking about like what worth is to you, what things are worth keeping in your life. Also be thinking about how much fucking money you want to have, right? Be setting some goals. You've got a 9th house in Scorpio. So let's be transforming some inner values around that sort of stuff. Okay. That's also, you know, that's for some fucking father trauma there, right? Father trauma. And like it affects the way you show up in the world, right? There's also some kind of mother trauma situation that you're dealing with as well. There's a lot of big trauma situations that you've been in pretty heavily in 2025 that are starting to like fade out. You've been paying for some you know, you've either dealt with or you've been paying for some karma of the way that you critique yourself in relationships, or that you critique relationships, or probably as a Pisces 1st house that you idealize them quite a lot. And there's been some like energy really coming through, and there'll be a lot more coming through that's going to help really ground that and understand what it is that you do need in a relationship, right? If any of you Pisces rising people are in relationships with lazy people, they're going to be fucking out of your life very soon. Very soon. Okay. You are going to have a Venus and a Mercury retrograding in your 8th and 9th house later this year. So they're not going to make it through. Get rid of them now. You've got Pluto in your 12th house. Okay, there's massive Aquarius energy happening at the end of the month. That's going to be in your 12th house. The first couple of weeks, though, we are in Capricorn. So you are going to get, you're going to get some fucking clarity around your friends, right? Your friends, the groups of people that you are around quite a lot. And there is going to be some wild energy for you at work, right? A lot of you will be traveling. A lot of you are going to be doing some weird shit for work that you probably wouldn't have felt comfortable doing, right? Because you're going to have your 4th house is going to have Priapus, the dark masculine energy. It's later this year. It's going to have Uranus bringing in some completely unexpected chaotic changes. And that is going to affect your career. You've got dark moon Lilith in your 10th house. So she's trying to connect you to your primal energy. She's trying to make you stop rejecting yourself. She's trying to make you find some kind of truth about who the fuck you actually are so that you can go towards your career and legacy. And so the first couple of weeks of January with these Capricorn Kazimis, Venus Kazemi on the 7th, Mars Kazemi on the 9th, let's get some fucking clarity around the sort of relationships that you want to be in, around what kind of mental stimulation you need, around the way that you communicate with people and friends, around how you take action. It's going to be a lot of letting go, right? Because with your Pisces 1st house, a lot of it is letting go. You're letting go of parts of the way that people have seen you, and it's going to shift how everyone sees you. So you are going to lose friends, right? As you start seeing yourself as this mask, this Pisces fucking Neptune at 29 degrees fucking starts out getting out of your 1st house, you'll start feeling a little bit less pressure of that like generational programming, a little bit less getting your fucking emotions piggybacked by the fucking ancestors, right? You're going to start finding a little bit more of a cheekiness when it comes to communication, when it comes to understanding, you know, that there should be a little bit of fun in that there is value, 3rd house Taurus, value in the way that you communicate, right? It's just that you have to communicate from your own perspective, not from somebody else's. And because you're so judgmental and critical of things that happen in relationship dynamics, you've fucking overthought things way too many times. So having Lilith in your 10th house, it's great. It's great. Get some wild fucking feral energy into your career. Get it, right? Because you need to shake some stuff up. You are so far from your primal energy, from your primal truth, all right? And that's because you've had all of this dissolving, weird, foggy fuckery, childhood wounding, mother wounding, father wounding, all of this stuff, all of it. The end of the month, though, huge in your 12th house, right? So look, the 19th is going to be pretty huge in regards to what sort of seeds you're planning about the relationships you want with friends and groups of people in the future, okay? What that looks like. That could also affect the way that you want your persona to look, like an online persona. That could affect that as well. And I think it would be a little bit kind of cheeky and weird and wild, all right? I do, with Lilith in your 10th house. But you're going to be able to see some of your fucking weirdness at the end of the month. And it's wild because it's something that you maybe not have seen for a very long time, right? So the sun moves into Aquarius, into your 12th house on the 20th. On the 21st, Mercury moves into your 12th house. On the 22nd, you have a cazimi, the sun and Mercury, and Pluto will be there in your 12th house. On the 23rd, Mars moves into your 12th house, and then there's a Pluto cazimi, right? So having the sun and Mercury and Mars and Pluto all in your 12th house, the 12th house are things that you can't see about yourself, and Aquarius is telling you like what it is that you're here to give back to the collective and where your fucking weird parts are. And the weird parts right now with Pluto there, power and fear, right? So the weird parts of you that you fear other people seeing, you're about to fucking see them and not fear them anymore. They're going to become powerful. And as you started shifting your idea of who these people are that are my friends, that are these groups of people that I'm around, are these group of people my friends, or are they work people? And there is a little bit more of a wild energy coming up in your career and pushing you towards the right kind of legacy, and that you're kind of coming out of some of this karmic energy of relationships that you would have been fucking dealing with for a very long time. Very long time. You would have had so many relationships that you put all of yourself into, and that other person just no, because that's what it was teaching you, right? It was teaching you that you need someone who puts effort in. It's also teaching you that you need to fucking put effort in, right? You need to put effort in if you want it to work. And putting effort in for you looks different to putting effort in for somebody else, right? So you need to know what putting effort in looks like for you. Part of it's going to have to do with allowing yourself to be nurtured and to nurture, right? Because 5th house in Cancer, all of this stuff has been like coming through over the last year, right? You've been progressively working through some of this shit. And when we get to the other side of Neptune and Saturn getting the fuck out of your 1st house, we're going to get some settling down, because then you've only got the North Node there. So yes, there will still be some discomfort in your reputation shifting and changing 100%, but you are being very supported by a number of other energies to give you a lot of confidence to do so, okay? Now you will have South Node in your 6th house, and you will have eclipses in your 6th house. So as I say to anyone who has that kind of energy coming in, get your habits in order, because with the South Node coming into your 6th house, you are going to see where you haven't been treating your body, your physical world very well. 6th house likes habits. 6th house is about health. 6th house is about the relationship that you have with yourself. In a spiritual way, the 6th house is somewhat related a lot to animals. So some of you might be getting a pet. Some of you might have some trauma stuff about losing pets from the past, but this, you could be getting a pet. Okay, South Node moving in there. There's some kind of karmic energy around like getting a familiar, right? Getting some kind of ancestral energy. I believe that ancestral energy coming through in pets. Okay, but get your fucking habits in order, right? Health habits, food habits. You are not going to enjoy having the South Node in your 6th house if you do not sort that out. Okay? You need to sort that out. Moment of silence while you think about what that actually means for you. Okay? Because Pisces 1st house, what do you escape into? You tell me. Whatever you're escaping into is about to become a little bit more obvious, okay? But I'm telling you, just that's my warning, okay? As a Virgo, right? Virgo rule the 6th house. I know when I need to get my habits in order because my body will fucking tell me. So, big energies for you, Pisces Rising, and actually good ones, releasing ones, letting go ones, okay? You're going to have some relationships this year that are going to be very helpful to transform things about your life. Okay, your 8th house is in Libra. You do transform through this kind of energy. So like releasing all of the karmic bullshit from relationships past, releasing all of the undervalued communication, the undervalued love and nurturing, not being able to love and nurture in the way that you wanted. All of that judgmental shit needs to go. And a lot of it's going to leave when Neptune leaves. Okay. Now, Neptune will take a couple of months to settle. So you might feel a little bit transitional about your reputation or how you're showing up, but that will settle. Okay. Now there will be a massive conjunction in your second house, February. Let me check the calendar. 21st. February 21st. Okay. And that will be after the new moon eclipse in your 12th house. So that Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries in your second house, it gonna show you how to make some money. Okay. Is going to show you that, definitely, because you'll have started off February with a bit of clarity, because Mercury will be in your first house, Venus will be in your first house, so it's going to help you, show you the relationships that you need to be having, but Mercury will retrograde in your first house, so you will have a minute to kind of make some adjustments. Okay, and that's all I've got for you. That's all of the signs. Part 1 goes up to Virgo, part 2 is Libra to Pisces. And it's going to be a big month, all right? If you want some tarot reading, if you want to get a birth chart done, which, I mean, I would highly recommend that, especially for Sag Rising, especially for Leo Rising and Capricorn Rising. I would highly advise getting a fucking birth chart reading, okay? There are some big shifts coming for you guys. Yeah, you can find all of the information on my website for all of the appointments that I do. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. Jump in my emails at any time that you have a question or that maybe my appointments are confusing, or whatever. Like and subscribe if you like this content, of course, and send your friends my way if they need some magic. You can also get them a gift voucher and force them to be sent my way. Anyway, happy fucking 2026. Let's do it. Stay weird.